hope you're doing well. So today we're going to finish up our series on perspective. What's your vision 2020? Is your vision 2020? So I'm just going to kind of review. Lesson 1, we define what perspective is. It's your mental view, not just what you see, but how your mind thinks about it. Another definition, the state of one's ideas based on the facts known to them. And then the last one, a particular way of thinking about something influenced by your beliefs and experience. Lesson 2, we discussed eternal perspective. Eternal perspective looks at what really matters in a situation. We're all humans and we're going to have thoughts, we're going to have opinions, we're going to have beliefs on things, and that's okay. God made us that way. There will be situations that make us emotional, make us happy, sad, angry, frustrated. You may even be 100% right in your thoughts and views, but eternal perspective is not centered on the situation. And it's not centered on what's actually going on in this moment. It's eternal perspective stays the same. It's focused on a bigger picture. It's focused on eternity, right? So eternal perspective never changes. Doesn't matter what situation you're in. Every situation can change. Eternal perspective never changes in every situation because it's not focused on here and now. It's focused on eternity. Eternal perspective is not necessarily about how you view a situation. It's about how you view your response. When you have eternal perspective, you can hate something more than life itself, and you can hate the situation and you can completely disagree and you can know that person is wrong, but still respond in a way that shows Christ. And I think that's very important to get, that eternal perspective means you're constantly looking at what is the bigger picture? What if me arguing with this person about something that in the end may not matter and they're lost, what's the bigger picture, right? I'm not saying to fold. I'm not saying to never stand up for your beliefs. I'm saying what you should always look at, what's the bigger picture. And then last week, lesson 3, we talked about life perspective. How you view a situation really determines your life, right? If we look for negative in a situation, we'll find it. If we look for positive in a situation, we'll find it. What we see determines how we respond, react, behave. And those determine our life. So in lesson 3, really making sure that we have our perspective is looking for the good, looking for the positive. How we're going to make the best out of it, because it really will affect your life in great ways. And then today we're going to finish the series on 360 perspective, 360 degrees. So what does 360 degrees mean? When you do a 360 degree view, you're looking all the way around it, right? So you see, it's about seeing the entire situation. Very few people develop this perspective. And it's really awesome though when you can. It truly changes it truly changed my life, and it really freed me from a lot of stress, a lot of drama, being part of a lot of things that I didn't have to be, because I was able to step back and see things in a different light. And a lot of times I was able to see, this doesn't involve me at all, or this really doesn't matter. And I was able to handle it very differently. This perspective, the way I think about it is, when you have a lot of people just see a situation through how this affects me, and it's very self-focused, right? They only see how they feel and how it affects them, and it's very self-focused, and that's normal. We're all that way. But 360 perspective, I like to say, it takes 3 steps back. And it says, okay, not only how this affects me, but let's look at the entire situation. What could truly be going on here? So it really allows you to look at things more objectively. I don't know if y'all remember, but in lesson 1, I told y'all that objective thinking is when you think about cold hard facts. You make your decision on cold hard facts. Subjective thinking is when you think about things based on your feelings, your emotions, how it affects you from your point of view, not just the facts. It is more emotions and feelings. The best example I can give you to describe the two, objective and subjective, is a courtroom. You know, the victim, the defendant, their families, and anyone personally involved with the situation that happened to cause them to go to court is going to be subjective. They're going to have emotions, feelings, thoughts. There's no way they're going to be able to just look at the cold hard facts, right? Because they were part of it. But the judge and jury, they should be objective. The jury should make their decision of guilty or innocent based on cold hard facts, not personal opinions, not personal feelings, but the facts. You know, in real life though, you're gonna be involved in the situation, right? You're gonna have feelings, you're gonna have thoughts, and sometimes there just may not be a lot of cold hard facts. Sometimes it may just be my feelings versus your feelings, right? So that's kind of where 360 comes in. The 360 degree perspective comes in, and I'm just gonna call it 360. You know, this is where you can really take a step back and do the 360 view of it, and also look at your side too. So, you know, you see, okay, how do I feel? How does this make me feel? What are my thoughts? And now let me take a step back and look at this situation. Not focus on me, but just everyone else, the entire situation. And, you know, and when you do that, there's a couple things that you're going to find with any situation. First thing you're going to find, or that you could find, is that you don't know all the facts. So when you were looking at it from just your subjective perspective, just about you really thought you probably had all the facts. And a lot of times when we think we have the facts, we really don't. So 360 will help you. You know, you step back and you look at, okay, what else could be going on here? Sometimes you're going to realize you don't have all the facts, right? You don't know enough to really know how you feel or think or how to respond. And in these moments, you have to decide. There's two choices, right? Either you're going to say, okay, I don't have all the facts, and I really don't need to know the facts, and it's really not that big of a deal, and you're going to move on. Who cares? Move on from the situation. You don't even have to respond at all. Or it's going to be something that's very important, and it's important to respond, and you have to respond. You have to think about it. It's part of your life. And in that situation, now you are aware that you need to find the facts. So 360, again, review. In some situations, you're going to find out you don't have the facts, and then you can choose where to go from there, right? Once you step back and look at it, you're going to be like, wow, I don't know what as much as I thought I knew. All right, so for number one, sometimes you don't have all the facts. Number two, sometimes when you do a 360 view and you look at the entire situation, you realize it has nothing to do with you at all. You just made it about yourself, and you invested in it when you were looking at it from your own personal perspective, right? Just about me. You know, this is when you put it in reverse. You get out of there. You get out of Dodge. You will save yourself so much drama and wasted time staying out of things that you don't have to be part of, right? Plus, you know, a lot of times, why should you get to say so? Why should you get to air your opinion? If it's not about you, it's not about anything that affects you or your family, it's not about defending someone or the faith, you truly just have no part in it at all, why should you get to say so? That'd be a great lesson for a lot of adults to learn. You know, you don't get or have to have an opinion or a thought, and you definitely don't have to share about every single thing. When you get involved in things, when you do this 360 view and you really see this has nothing to do with me, and you still get involved, you have to be very careful with that, because a lot of times that's where people cause a lot of hurt and drama, and you don't have to. You know, when you step back and you do the 360 perspective and you say, okay, this has nothing to do with me, then you need to go, okay, now let me look at it from the eternal view. What's my eternal perspective? If I get involved, is this eternity going to be affected if I get involved in this for someone else? Is it going to be affected positively or negatively? If me getting involved in airing my opinions on a news article just because I want to on Facebook, is it going to start a fight? Is it going to start a war with people? And if so, my name could be tarnished. And when I go and meet that person and I witness to them, or they come here to church and their kids want to come in our 6 to 8 and they're like, oh, you're the person I was fighting with about some article that didn't even matter. Is that going to affect it? If so, get out of there. Stay out of it. So stepping back and looking at the whole perspective is first, number one, is going to help you realize that sometimes you don't know all the facts. And number two, sometimes it's going to help you realize that you're not involved at all. And then sometimes 360 view means that you have all the facts and you're involved. So hey, I've stepped back, I've looked at the situation, I know everything, and absolutely this involves me. So then what do you do with the 360 view? That's when you can look at all sides of it. You know, you've stepped back and you've seen, okay, absolutely this involves me. But when you step back and look at the entire situation, you can see so much more, like, okay, so yes, we do have a different opinion. And yes, it involves me. And I don't believe the same as you. But you can really start to see why they believe the way they do, right? So it doesn't really matter what they believe if you don't understand why. You can't fight what they believe, or discuss, not fight, but have a conversation, resolve an issue. You can't respond to what they believe if you don't understand why in an effective way. So stepping back and thinking about their past, what they could be seeing, you know, because think about a football game, right? Me on one side and someone else on the other. Okay, so I'm on the home team, they're on the visitor team. We are watching the exact same game, right? After every game, you know what both sides say? The refs stunk. They were for the other team. They cheated. They must have that team in their back pocket. They must have paid the refs because every call was for that team. Both sides say that. So which one is it? Who did they call? Who were the refs for? Because me as a mom of my kids, I'm going to be like, that was not holding. Why'd you call that on my baby or whatever? And the parent on the other side is going to feel the exact same way about a call. Same game, same view, same everything, same refs, same calls, different perspectives. So when I can understand that, right? I can understand that it's about my baby, and I'm never going to like any of the calls if it's against my baby. I can understand. I don't agree with the other fan's perspective, but I can understand it better, right? And when you can understand the why behind it, it really changes how you respond. So I'm so frustrated on social media. I would get off of it if I didn't have to be on there for school and just different things that I'm involved with it. Because people are fighting over the stupidest things, y'all. I think this world has gone crazy. You know, and we're just everything. Everyone's talking about everything. And the thing is, no one is truly stepping back to understand why the person feels the way they do, right? I can tell you all day long, you should wear a mask. And you can tell me all day long I shouldn't wear a mask. But does it really matter? Like, oh, okay, you told me I should wear it. Let me go change my views. No. Why? Understanding why someone's feeling that way is where you got to go. And when you can understand why, you can get to a solution, or you can respond right? So it's just so important to be able to find a way to communicate that gets to the heart of it. Another thing that with the 360 is you can really look at, okay, how did this person take that? I know y'all are like, so in the age of technology and smartphones, there was a time that you did not have text messages. And I can remember that. I can remember the first time that I started texting really, because I was in orientation at Northwest Shoals and I wanted to talk to Josh because I was in that new butterfly. Got to talk to him all the time. Every 30 seconds, I got to talk to him. And so I was like, okay, let me just try this texting thing. And back then you paid per text. So my sister had like an $800 phone bill one time because she started, she texts. Can you imagine paying per text? So something that y'all probably don't understand is that text can be read the way you intend to text does not mean that they're going to take it that way. It's very hard to communicate through text, email, social media, because they can't read your body language. They can't hear your tone. So the way you intend it could be taken completely wrong. And so being able to step back and look at, if somebody responds to you in a way that you did not expect, and you're like, what does that mean? I sent this, I meant it this way, what? And you get offended because they got upset from your text. Take a step back. Think about, okay, reread the text and think, okay, how could they have taken that? The flip side of that, when you get a text from someone or an email or something on social media, before you want to respond, take a step back and read it from a positive view. And I would challenge y'all to see how many times you read it with a negative view or a tone. Step back and look at it from a positive view. What could they mean positively from this? And then try to see the big picture of, okay, maybe they just didn't mean it to sound like this, but they're trying to convey this point. When you do that, it can really help you. You're going to save yourself a lot of drama, hurt feelings, and you're really going to be able to change your life and really change your relationships by trying to see the big picture. Josh gets frustrated with me because I've learned to do this so well just through things in my life that I always look at the other side. I'm always like, I probably have too much empathy. I probably put myself in people's shoes too much. Because he'll be so mad at something and I'm like, well, they could do this. They could be, they could have cut you off because they have a family member in the hospital. They're trying to get there. Or, that person, the line's so long because somebody called in and then somebody else is pregnant and someone's sick and, they can't help it. And everything that he says or gets frustrated with, I see the opposite side and I share with him. I'm like, well, and he gets frustrated because he's like, do you defend everyone? And I'm not trying to defend them, but I just see, okay, where could they be coming from? So I'm going to share some examples with you to kind of help you make that more clear, okay? So, where's my Walmart one? Okay, first one. You are at Walmart and you go on the cereal aisle for some Lucky Charms. At the other end is a lady and a little girl. The girl is probably 4 or 5. The little girl starts jumping around, swinging her arms repeatedly, screaming at the top of her lungs, yes, yes, yes. The mom begins to cry, dropping the cereal to find a tissue. Okay, think about that. What would you think? What would you do? How would you feel about that situation? That little girl jumping around, swinging her arms, yelling, and the mom crying. You got what you do? Okay. Now let me tell you the 360 view. Although this little girl looks like any other 4 or 5 year old on the outside, on the inside she lives with autism. Autism is a disability that affects the way you communicate, behave, and interact with people. Some with autism reject touch. They don't understand emotions, so it's impossible to learn how to control emotions. Some are constantly moving and may appear hyper to others. Some are very sensitive to touch, light, and sound. When exposed, they may appear to be throwing a fit because they can't communicate their stress or understand the emotion. All they know to do is show you that something is wrong. And some, like the little girl at Walmart, have delayed communication. They may be older before speaking, require therapy to be able to, and some may never speak at all. For the little girl at Walmart, she's been in therapy for years, learning many things, which include speech. It's been a long, hard, exhausting, and expensive road for the mom. She cries every night, feeling like she's just not doing enough. The guilt eats at her 24/7. And you just got to witness one of the best moments of that mom's life. For the first time ever, she heard her daughter speak. She heard her daughter's voice, and it was beautiful. She will cherish this moment forever, and those are tears of joy. Is that what your mind thought when I read you the first one? Okay. If you're like my kids, probably not. If you All right, number 2. You can't figure the new kid at school out. He seems pretty cool, but then sometimes he just snaps. He gets upset over things that just aren't that big of a deal to you. He must have a good family life because he's got name brand clothes, he's got nice shoes, The person that picks him up drives a nice car, so he couldn't be poor. He makes good grades when he tries, so he doesn't have any learning disabilities. You aren't sure if he's going to fit in with your gang or if y'all are going to let him in at all. Because he just turns into an angry baby and like just out of the middle of nowhere. And it's kind of embarrassing. And so you're like, I don't know. You're kind of weird and I don't know if I'm going to be nice to you or let you in. How do you feel? What do you think? All right. So now let me get... Okay. So... here's his situation. This boy does have nice clothes and a nice house. His family does attend his games. He's insanely smart and at his old school made straight A's. He tried harder than anyone there. He has a big family that all love him dearly and would have given anything to prevent him from having to go through what he has the past 3 years. He's even in counseling now and working to learn how to process and handle the emotions that he has. The emotions that come from watching his mom's addiction for the past 3 years and the overdose that took her life. The anger and pain from that hits him like a truck and he can't stop it. He doesn't have the ability to know when it's going to come. Certain things just trigger it. He desperately wants to control it, and every time it happens, he's embarrassed by it. He's also dealing with all the changes his mom's death caused. Moving to a new school, a new state, a new house. Leaving his old school where he just made the basketball team, but missed the tryouts at the new school. He's going to a new church, trying to make new friends on top of all that. Plus, the guilt and anger about his mom. He hates looking into the stands at games because of his mom's choice, because his mom chose drugs over being there. He dreads senior year when other players get to walk their moms on the field and give them flowers. He plans to quit sports his senior year so he doesn't have to deal with it. He is so jealous of the life you have because he used to have it, but will never have it again. Sorry, that one hits a little bit close to home. Whew, okay, so I hope that helps y'all understand that you don't always know what's going on, right? And those are situations that truly don't necessarily involve you, but you can, the one at Walmart, I hope it shows you that, you know, when something's going on, you don't have to be involved. You don't have to look at that kid and be like, he needs a whooping. If you're going to be involved, show sympathy to that mom or an empathy or smile at them. A smile goes a long way. But you don't necessarily, if you're not going to be nice, then just go away. Who cares what you think? If the kid's bad or his mom's bad, doesn't matter. You don't get to say so. So move on. Don't make it harder on them. And then the second one, you never know what people are going through. So taking the time to step back and look and say, okay, something's got to be going on with this kid. Like something, because he has, you know, everything on the outside looks normal to me. But I don't snap like that. And so something has to be going on. He probably needs a friend. And so I hope this shows you how to, having the full perspective can really change what you think. I have a video that I'm going to share with y'all also about that I did this series, these questions with my kids and husband, and just to show you their perspective and real life examples of how they would respond. I hope y'all have enjoyed this lesson in this series and you've gotten a lot from it. I love you guys and I'll see you soon. Bye.